Please don't forget to subscribe and comment. The house felt too quiet after James passed away. Every tick of the clock echoed like a reminder that he wasn't coming back. I had lived in that big suburban home for over 15 years, raising our only son, Evan, and building a life filled with routines, holiday dinners, and movie nights curled under the same blanket. Now, the walls felt like strangers. The silence was unbearable. Evan had just turned 22. He was always a sweet kid, gentle, observant, more in tune with feelings than most boys his age. After James died, Evan had put his life on pause. He deferred his final year of college to stay with me. At first, I protested. But truthfully, I needed him. Maybe more than I admitted. "Mom," he called softly one night, stepping into the kitchen where I stood at the sink. I was washing a plate, not because it needed washing, but because the rhythm of it was better than facing the emptiness. "Yeah, honey?" I said, wiping my hands on the dish towel. He looked nervous. His blue eyes, so much like his father's, darted to the floor before locking onto mine. "Can we talk about something?" "Of course," I replied, motioning toward the kitchen table. "Sit down." He hesitated, then pulled out the chair beside mine. The overhead light cast a warm glow across his face. He had grown so much, taller than James had ever been, but still had that boyish vulnerability that made me want to pull him into a hug and never let go. "It's about Dad," he began, his voice thick. I reached for his hand, instinctively. "I miss him too, Evan." "I know." "That's not it, though," he said, voice low. "It's about us. You and me." The way he said it gave me pause. "What about us?" He took a deep breath and leaned in, his voice barely a whisper. "I've been feeling something. And I don't think I should be. But I can't help it. You've been so strong and beautiful through everything, Mom. I find myself wanting to protect you in a way that's not just a son protecting his mother." My breath caught. A strange, electric silence passed between us. "What are you saying, Evan?" "I don't want to make you uncomfortable," he said quickly, looking ashamed. "But I see how lonely you are." "I am too. I miss Dad every day, but he's not coming back. And you're still young. Still beautiful. I know someone out there will see that soon. And I guess He stopped, as if afraid of his own words. My heart was racing. I didn't know what stunned me more, his honesty or the raw, unfiltered emotion in his eyes. "Evan, you're my son," I said softly, not knowing whether I was reminding him or myself. "I know. And I'm not saying anything weird," he replied, holding my gaze. "But haven't you felt it? The tension? The way we look at each other lately?" I swallowed hard. I had felt it. Little moments, his hand lingering a second too long when he helped me up from the couch. The quiet glances in the hallway. The comfort of his hugs that started to feel like more than just grief. "I shouldn't have said anything," he muttered, standing up quickly. "Wait," I said, reaching for his arm. "Sit down." He slowly lowered himself back into the chair. "We've both been through so much." Losing James shook the ground under us. It's natural to feel closer. Maybe even confused, I reasoned, unsure if I was trying to comfort him or myself. He leaned forward again, this time placing his hand on mine. "I'm not confused. I'm not saying it's right. I just need you to know, you're not alone. Not in any way." That night, I didn't sleep. My mind wandered through old memories and new feelings. I missed James. But I also couldn't deny that Evan had grown into someone strong and thoughtful, and his presence filled the house in a way that felt comforting. Even intoxicating. Days passed. We didn't bring it up again. But something had shifted. One Saturday afternoon, I walked into the living room to find Evan asleep on the couch, the sunlight from the window casting warm shadows across his chest. His shirt had ridden up slightly, revealing a sliver of skin. I stared a moment too long. Then he stirred. "Hey," he murmured, blinking up at me. "Didn't mean to wake you," I said quickly. He sat up slowly, rubbing his eyes. "You didn't." "I was dreaming." "About?" He smiled faintly. "You." My breath hitched. "Evan." He stood and walked toward me. The room was silent except for the faint sound of birds outside. He was close now, too close. I could feel the warmth of his body radiating toward mine. "Tell me to stop," he whispered, his voice barely audible. I couldn't. Because I didn't want to. But before anything could happen, the doorbell rang. We both jumped, stepping apart like teenagers caught doing something forbidden. It was our neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, bringing over a lasagna. "Thought you two might be hungry," she said sweetly. The moment passed. But the feeling didn't. That night, I lay in bed thinking about what might have happened. Was I truly lonely, or was I letting myself fall into something that couldn't ever be real? The next morning, Evan suggested we take a trip. "Let's go somewhere. Just us. Get out of this house." I agreed, maybe too quickly. We drove to a cozy beach town a few hours away. It was quiet, peaceful. The inn we stayed at had one of those wraparound porches and creaky wooden floors. Everything about it felt like a dream. That evening, we walked along the shore. The ocean breeze tousled my hair as we walked silently side by side. At one point, he stopped and turned to face me. "I know this is wrong," he said. "But when I look at you, I don't see my mother. I see a woman I care about. A woman who deserves love." I looked up at him, the moonlight glinting off his eyes. "Then stop calling it wrong," I whispered. He stepped forward and held me close. His embrace was different this time, not out of sadness, but out of something else. Longing. Desire. Understanding. We stood there in silence, waves crashing in the distance. Back at the inn, I lit a candle in the small room. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew the air had changed. The tension had evolved. We didn't speak much. Just sat close on the bed, brushing shoulders, stealing glances. Then he kissed my shoulder. It was soft, almost accidental. But it sent a shiver down my spine. "I can't stop thinking about you," he said, voice low and trembling. "You make me feel alive again." I turned to him, slowly. "I never thought I'd feel this way. Especially not now. Especially not with me," he finished. I nodded, silently. We didn't rush into anything. But that night, under the soft sheets and flickering candlelight, we explored a closeness we never expected. Not in a way that crossed forbidden lines, but in a way that filled the hollow spaces grief had carved inside us. It was emotional. Confusing. Beautiful. After that night, we returned home, not speaking of it at first. But everything between us was different. We cooked together, laughed more freely, even started going on walks at sunset. We weren't trying to replace anyone. We were simply trying to heal. But the world outside wasn't ready for that kind of story. So we kept it ours. Quiet. Safe. One day, Evan came home with a letter in his hand. He'd gotten accepted into a postgraduate fellowship program in Chicago. "I want to go," he said. "But I also don't want to leave you." "You have to go," I said, smiling despite the lump in my throat. "You have your own life, Evan. I'll be okay." He came closer and kissed my forehead. "I'll come back. Not as your little boy, but as a man who knows what he wants." As I watched him drive away that afternoon, a strange mix of pride and longing filled me. I wasn't alone anymore. Not really. Because love had returned to my life in the most unexpected form, and even if the world wouldn't understand, I knew what I felt was real. A year later, he returned. The moment I saw him walk through the front door, I knew. He pulled me into his arms and whispered the words that once shocked me but now felt like a promise. I still want you. All of you. Not as your son, but as the man who knows your heart. And this time, I didn't hesitate. Because love doesn't always follow the rules. Sometimes it finds you when you're broken. Sometimes it looks like something you never expected. But when it's real, you just know. And I knew.